Welcome back to the City of Santa Clarita Spotlight Show, where we talk about all things City of Santa Clarita. This is your host, Perry Smith, News Director for KHTS, and I'm in the studio. On the hot seat with me is Laura Jardine of the City of Santa Clarita's Environmental Services Division. And Laura, tell me a little bit about your background. You came over to the Environmental Services Division from finance.
Correct. Yes, when I was hired with the city, I was hired into finance because that was my background. I was in the banking industry for 14 years.
Really?
Yep. So I was hired into finance and spent a good amount of time there with the city, and then an opportunity came up as an interim assignment with Environmental Services, and it just sounded like a really interesting position. It would give me some opportunity to expand my skills, my project management, and that type of thing. So I thought I'd go for it, and fortunately was given the opportunity, and then the position turned into a more permanent position in that interim assignment, so I was able to stay.
So you don't miss the finances and number crunching?
No, this is a lot more fun.
I would imagine getting out there, and Santa Clarita is a beautiful area, and there's a lot of trails, and there's so much diversity as far as what you can do in our city. Is that kind of what drew you to that? I mean, is that one of the best parts of it?
It is, yeah. It's nice. I do get to get out in the field a little bit rather than just being stuck to the desk all the time, but there's just a lot of interesting components to environmental services, and I get to work on the events and keeping up the website and all of that stuff.
And when you first came here, what was your first task, or what did you start doing with the Environmental Services Division?
Fortunately, I was hired into the position about a month and a half before Bike to Work Day. So I was thrown right into managing that project, and that's a huge event that we do each year in May.
Right.
So I got right to work on putting that together, and fortunately the people before me had done a great job in keeping some good records and organizing it.
How many years have we been doing that now in the city?
That one was 9 this year.
Oh, okay. So, obviously, I know the city encourages bike trails and to be as green as possible. Is that something maybe look at expanding like more often, or is it just like once a year just to highlight it, and then they encourage bike to work every day?
Well, it's definitely encouraged all the time. I am the rideshare coordinator also for the city staff, so I coordinate with everyone who carpools, rides their bike, walks to work, all of those different rideshare opportunities.
Wow.
But
that seems like a big task.
It is, yeah, it is, and there's a lot of great rideshare coordinators in the city that work for other organizations like Princess Cruises and College of the Canyons. They do a great job too, and I work with them. How
does that relationship work? Do they contact you and say, we'd like to establish a carpool? I mean, what does that entail exactly?
Most of it is coordinated by LA County Metro. Basically, they're the head of that program, and then we each take the reins on our specific organization. But I work with, some of the other local businesses to make sure that they have what they need. We work together to provide giveaway items if they want to do raffles or, some sort of prizes for people that do our carpool. So
the city's role in this, you guys kind of encourage people to carpool as much as possible, and that's the aspect that you guys play in that?
Right, yep.
Okay. And what are some of the raffles, and what type of stuff do you... Like, how do you guys do that?
For Bike to Work Day, it's whoever pledges to bike on that day, then they're entered into a raffle, not just city staff, but everyone who participates and registers through our Bike to Work Day challenge. It's kind of cool because ours is one of the biggest in all of LA County. We have 5 pit stops now where people can go through and stop by on their way to work and get some coffee or a snack and pick up a couple giveaway items. And then at that point, they sign in and they're registered to enter into the raffle.
So that's interesting. I didn't know about that. Tell me a little bit more about what's a pit stop like. I mean, for me, biking to work, it's a great idea to bike to work, but then I have to go back up a hill.
Right.
So I might be walking home if that's okay. Can I still register?
The key is bike to work, right?
Right, exactly. So I'm all downhill. I'm going straight down Soledad. I'm in good shape, and then at 5 o'clock we'll talk.
Right.
We'll talk about carpool.
Got it.
No, but what's a pit stop if I'm biking? Is this for people going just commuting within Santa Clarita, or?
Our contest is, but there are other areas in the county that participate as well. They're just not quite as big of a program as we have.
Sure.
But ours, we host 5 pit stops. Like I said, this year actually was 5. Before that, it was 4. We have city staff at a couple of them, and then we had some bike shops that hosted for us a couple of the other ones. And what it is we just set up a table, and we have refreshments. We have a sign-in sheet. It's kind of just like a rah-rah, go, you can do it, keep going kind of thing.
Perry, stop, don't give up.
Right.
You're only going downhill. that type of motivational speech. Okay, good deal. And yeah, if there is any information that you want to get about this, you can always go to the city's website, right? One of the city's websites, I should say,
Right.
greensantaclarita.com. And that has a lot of information there that I want to talk about as far as like the green business locators. I mean, there's green buildings. There's, just tips for residents, right? Just
Right.
like how they can be a little more efficient.
Yes, there's a lot of information on greensantaclarita.com, and we do our best to keep it up to date and a really great tool for the residents.
And you're one of the people who runs that site, right? Or you were just
Correct.
mentioned you were administrating it. So what does that kind of entail? Are you working with the community there? Are you, kind of always looking at new ways to have green tips for residents, or what is
Yes,
that?
anytime we get word that there's a new place that you can drop off hazardous waste or something, then I make sure I get that website up to date as quick as possible, because we are always getting calls about stuff like that, and we need to have a resource
Like
for our
an e-waste
residents.
disposal center or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see those events throughout the city all the time. What's some of the other information people can get from our website, from that website specifically? Sorry.
From greensantaclarita.com, there's resources for businesses, there's resources for residents. So if there's a builder that's looking to come in and do a new project in the city, they can look to see maybe what some of the requirements are on demolition, because we
really?
do have a construction and demolition ordinance in the city. So, and with that ordinance, it's required that you recycle at least 50% or more of the debris.
So I can't just go around demolishing any old building I want to?
No, you've got to get permits.
That's probably a good idea.
And comply with our ordinance, most likely, where we would just ask for some paperwork that shows what you did with the waste, because we're really trying to get our numbers as high as possible in the recycling part of it.
Awesome. We'll talk a little bit more about what you can find out about greensantaclarita.com and the 19th annual River Rally that is coming up next month that Laura Jardine is organizing when we get back. This is the City Spotlight Show, and on your hometown station, AM 1220 KHDS.